Yo, what's going on, guys? So before we get into today's video, just gotta say that today's video is gonna be brought to you by Beautiful Halo, and I gotta say, if you guys want to purchase some really awesome anime merchandise, everything from Boruto / Naruto to Black Clover, My Hero Academia, Dragon Ball, click down in the description box and use my link below in order to do so. It's also a really great way to help support the channel. As a bit of an added bonus, a lot of their anime merchandise, like you saw in the video just now, is on sale right now, and there's free worldwide shipping on anything over $29. But with that being said, let's go ahead and jump into today's video. Sasuke Uchiha is a man who many Naruto fans acknowledge as being one of the most powerful and easily one of the most skilled ninja in the Naruto universe. Even Orochimaru, someone who was called a genius in his childhood, stated that Sasuke's talent easily surpassed everything of Orochimaru in his prime, and that Sasuke had the potential to even rival the legendary Madara Uchiha. Shortly after gaining his Rinnegan, Sasuke was quickly able to master it, being able to pull off space-time ninjutsu that ate up a huge amount of his chakra, more so than the basic 6 Rinnegan jutsu. Like stated by Sasuke himself, during the battle with Kage, somehow throughout all of this, despite Kage never using the Rinnegan jutsu, Sasuke was able to learn how to use all the basic Rinnegan jutsu, and during his battle with Naruto, we see that Sasuke actually used 2 of these jutsu, in particular a pretty nasty anime only combo where he pulls Naruto's shadow clone towards him and then hits him with blaze release right after that. Even further in his battle with Naruto, we even see the QB go as far as to state that Sasuke, in terms of skill, Sasuke with this freshly awakened Rinnegan was rivaling the skill of the Sage of 6 Paths. However, that was Sasuke at the age of 17 with the freshly awakened Rinnegan. So just what could a 32-year-old Sasuke who's had 15 years to get used to the Rinnegan be able to pull off? Well, in today's video, I'm going to tell you guys about the new jutsu that Sasuke has created in Boruto Naruto Next Generations, and I'll say right now, you guys are absolutely going to love this one. So for a bit of a context, the scene I'm going to share with you guys, Sasuke has been in the process of returning to Konoha when suddenly Sasuke finds himself in a situation where dozens of civilians who now have their lives at stake, and if things got too far out of control, there will be blood on Sasuke's hands if he isn't able to stop the situation before it's too far gone. This wasn't a situation where Sasuke could stand by idly, but instead, given who he had there to support him, Sasuke had no choice but to take action and allow the other person to do things on their own. Now, the information is given to us in the Boruto light novel set before the start of the Owl arc of the Boruto Naruto Next Generations. So with the scene being set, it's here I'll begin quoting the passage from the novel, and then I'll come back to you guys my thoughts, and it's here I'm gonna begin quoting. Konohamaru arrived at the 12th rail car, but when he did so, he stopped in shock. He'd expected to see all the carriages behind it devoured by flames, but instead he saw only raw ice. Konohamaru kicked in one of the frozen windows and entered into the cart, his breathing stinging with the cold air. Standing in the middle of the rail car, cold air swirling around him, was Sasuke Uchiha. At the tip of his hand, there had been a red flame that burned on the frame of the nearby seat, smoldering until the very end. In real time, Konohamaru watched as within seconds the flame was developing the ice and then suddenly disappeared. Sasuke-san, just what is this? Konohamaru asked. So it's Konohamaru, Sasuke said, looking over his shoulder, and then shifted his eyes to the frozen inner carriage. As you can see, I extinguished it, Sasuke said. Extinguished? What do you mean? Well, I mean the flames had disappeared, but Konohamaru started before he stopped talking. He was too stunned by what he saw. The end of the line of the carriages was almost completely filled with first-class seating. They were constructed much differently than the compartments that Konohamaru was used to. They were more spacious, filled with a wide width of sofas that was meant to face one another. Each compartment had a thick oak wall separating it one next to the other. The ceiling had been destroyed by the shock of the explosion, and the sofas had tumbled across the broken floor. Light fixtures that were once detailed finely carvings, looking like high-class and expensive items beyond anything he could have afforded, were now suddenly burnt. Everything must have been bent and burned in the blast, scorched black by the flames. Now they look like mere shadows of their former condition as Sasuke covered them in ice. It's simple. You just extinguish the fire with water release, and it produces a high-temperature water vapor, Sasuke said matter-of-factly before he ignored Konohamaru's overwhelmed face, and Sasuke continued. Then you just have to combine wind release and water release. The result is that the water vapor becomes frozen over, Sasuke said. So, are you saying that this is ice release? Konohamaru asked. It's close, but it's not the very thing itself. In the past, I once fought a ninja who could use ice release, but this is a simple imitation of that jutsu. It doesn't even become comparable to that guy's power at all. This is no match for it. This is too simple, Sasuke said. Konohamaru couldn't believe his ears. This was no match for it. Everything from the floor to the ceiling was frozen. There wasn't a single gap in the rail car that hadn't been deeply iced over. He stared at Sasuke in disbelief as he exhaled white breaths. Sasuke said combining wind release and water release was something that was simple. It was only simple to say such a thing, not to actually do. Combining together two entirely unrelated nature transformations together simultaneously, that by no means was nothing simple in any regard of the word. End quote. So what I love here is that we see once again what Orochimaru and the Kyuubi meant when they gushed over Sasuke's genius talent, with the Kyuubi going so far as to compare Sasuke's talent and skill to being on par with the Sage of Six Paths. Even the Sage of Six Paths himself was shocked to see that Sasuke put all 9 Biju under a genjutsu with only a single glance. The fact that Sasuke has developed his own version of ice release shouldn't come as a shock to any of you guys. So in the past, both on Naruto Explained as well as my first channel, Kryptonian Saiyan, I briefly talked about this moment when Sasuke used ice release, but those videos are more so me reporting on the fact that Sasuke had ice release in the Boruto era. A lot of you guys asked me to cover this scene in depth, and for a while I decided not to do that, but I still keep getting questions asking, can I go over this scene in detail like I do with a lot of the other novels that I cover? So I finally got around to doing it because I see enough of the questions at least once every couple weeks somebody asks that. So what's so interesting about this fact is that Sasuke thinks that his feat is only a simple action, but Konohamaru's marveling at Sasuke freezing the entire rail car from the actual flames to every single square foot of the massive rail car says a lot. If combining chakra natures was so simple, we'd have multiple people running around with weaker versions of wood release and ice release. There's a reason why Danzo spent years when Orochimaru was a part of Root working to recreate the power of the first Hokage's Kekkei Genkai wood release. It's not as simple as combining chakra natures, and yet Sasuke with his Rinnegan does so with utter ease. As easily as Naruto once stopped Might Guy from dying due to the effects of the 8th gate, and when he created a whole eyeball for Kakashi just by touching his eye socket. This really just goes to show you that even Sasuke at the age of 32 doesn't even realize how much of a genius that he truly is. But that's gonna be it for this installment of Sasuke Shinden. Let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, and if you had to rank Sasuke among the geniuses of the Naruto era, where would you place Sasuke? But as always guys, if you like anything I had to say, don't forget to comment, rate, subscribe, and share. Thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. Have an awesome day guys.